All right. Hello. You're addicted to my live streams. Okay. I'm glad, but I don't know why. All I do is talk. Hello, hello, Carlos. Hello, Halo. So, we're doing what we always do. I'm answering questions the best I can, or as best I can. So, you may begin anytime you wish if you have a question, if you want to know about something, or you can also choose a topic, maybe. You can choose a topic and maybe I'll talk about it. Maybe. Okay? But you need to help me more because I'm not going to just come here and present things to you. You need to tell me what you want to know. Okay? I used to present stuff. I used to prepare all kinds of things. For the first few years I did these streams, I prepared a lot. But whenever I prepared, nobody cared. Nobody cared. So it wasn't worth my time to prepare anything. Because every time I prepared, people didn't care and people didn't pay attention anyway. So if I'm not preparing anything, then you need to ask me questions so that I can do something. Otherwise, I just sit here. Thank you for the gifts. Okay, we finally have a question. Can I explain the word dough? What do you want me to explain about it, Carlos? Do you want me to explain the pronunciation, the spelling, the meaning? What do you want me to explain? Oh, not dough. Carlos, DOUGH. That's the stuff that you use to make bread. When you're making bread, before it becomes bread, it's that goopy ball. That's called dough. Okay? The word you're looking for is though. 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 And the way we use this word is, I call it contrary though. Contrary though. And what it does is when you say one statement, you say one thing, but there's a but. There's some kind of a but, right? So I want to go to the park today, but it's cold outside. Though. Okay, now you can take the but away completely and just say, I want to go to the park. It's cold outside though. Okay, if you connect it into one sentence, it's I want to go to the park, comma, but it's cold outside though, right? One moment. So, sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Yeah. So the word though is what we put on the end of a sentence And it helps to say what you're saying in a softer way. In a softer way, right? So, let me think of a good example. Hold on. Let me give you some examples. Okay, so sometimes we use though at the beginning of a sentence. We'll say, though I studied a lot, I didn't do well on the test. Now, this form of though is like the word although. Although and though in the beginning of a sentence mean the same thing. Okay? I could also say, though she was new, she was the best accountant in the company. Though she was new, she was the best accountant in the company. So that means, again, it's like although she was new, right? Though it was sunny, it doesn't feel very warm. Though I don't agree with the gentleman, I do think he has a good point. Let's see. Then you can also use though in the middle of a sentence like this. The movie was long, though it was interesting. He is a bit shy, though he is very friendly once you get to know him. So in this case, the word though is like the word but. Okay? In the middle of a sentence, though is like but. But we also use though at the end of a sentence. And when we use it at the end of a sentence, it's to say an afterthought or a contradiction, something that's contrary. It goes against what you said first. So, for example, I'm not hungry, but I'll take one of those donuts, though. Okay, so you're contradicting what you first said. You said, I'm not hungry, all right? But I'll take one of those donuts, though, all right? Let's see. We've got enough food, not many drinks, though. Okay? All right. So there you go. That's how you use the word though. You don't even know what you care about. When you hear my voice, it's just like a rhythm that's easy to absorb. Well, that's a nice compliment. I like that compliment. Fan Chung, I like that compliment because when I speak, I try to think about my words like music. So I try to make the words musical, which means they have a rhythm, and there's a feeling, and there's emotion, and there's dynamics, right? So your compliment tells me that I'm probably doing those things the right way, because that's what I want. I want people to just enjoy listening to what I'm saying. If the tone of your voice, if the way that you speak is pleasant, then more people will listen. If your rhythm is a pleasant rhythm, more people will listen. If your speed is a pleasant speed, more people will listen. If your dynamics are pleasant dynamics, then more people will listen. How to reduce your mistakes while speaking. Mona Lisa, that's too general. Let's see. So, how to reduce your mistakes while speaking. That's too general. What kind of mistakes? Grammar mistakes? Vocabulary mistakes? Pronunciation mistakes? What mistakes, right? Mona Lisa, I tell people not to avoid or reduce your mistakes. Don't avoid them. You're trying to avoid mistakes because you think making a mistake is bad, that the only way to do it is by doing it the right way. That is wrong. How do scientists learn? How do scientists make a decision? How do scientists determine something? Do scientists only test the things that work? Yeah. So, Mona Lisa, if avoiding mistakes was the best way, then wouldn't scientists try to avoid mistakes? They don't avoid mistakes because they learn from mistakes. You can learn from mistakes too. You have the right to learn from your mistakes. You do not need to avoid them. And the only reason why you are worried about them is because of other people. Other people should not be involved in the decisions about your learning. Other people, the way other people think about you, has nothing to do with your learning. You are letting your shyness and your self-confidence get in the way of your learning because you're worried about other people. Don't worry about other people. Worry about yourself. Worry about you and your learning. Do you care more about what they think, or do you care more about your progress? Make a choice. You can't have both. You can't have both. And Mona Lisa is about vocabulary, about simple vocabulary and advanced vocabulary. It's always nice to try to learn advanced vocabulary, and it's always nice to try to figure out how can I explain this with advanced vocabulary. But language is like math. And math likes to reduce itself to its simplest form. Language also should be reduced to its simplest form whenever possible. If you are using words that are more complex than you need to, then it's like you're forcing those words into that situation. And if you're in a practice situation, then that's okay. But if you're in a real life situation, then you shouldn't be thinking about, like, okay, maybe you learned a new word, right? So let's see, let me find a word here. So the word you learned was ephemeral. Okay, you learned the word ephemeral. Ephemeral means like a quality that's kind of hard to describe, or it's like the atmosphere, or it's atmospheric, or it's hard to explain or touch. Okay? If I say, I really like that guy. He's so smart and he's really ephemeral. No, you are forcing that word into a conversation just because you want to use it. That's not right. Okay? Musicians, we learn this also. In music, sometimes a musician will practice and will learn this one really cool thing that we want to play. But then every song that comes, we play that little thing. We try to make that thing fit into every song. That's a big mistake. Wisdom says, the first lesson of wisdom is, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. That's the first rule of wisdom. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. All right? So just because you know an advanced vocabulary word doesn't mean that it's appropriate at that moment. Okay? Now, it might be if you're in the right environment. Okay? Okay, Mona Lisa, you're saying you need to slow down, Mona Lisa. I don't. You've got too many things here. I'm not sure. You said when you agree with any person opening, then what should we can express? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Mona Lisa. When you agree with someone, you say, I agree. You can say, well said. You can say, indeed. All of those mean I agree. You can also say, yes. Okay? Hello, Miguel, and hello, Tayo. Well, welcome back, Tayo. And let's see. You see people using the with the ing, verb plus the ing, but when they speak, but you don't know the rule. So the rule, let's start with the basic rule. Start with this first. Most things in English, you can say them two ways for verbs. You can say, I like walking, or I like to walk. So if I use the word to, then I don't need to use the ing. But if I don't have the word to, then I need ing. I like walking, I like to walk. I like running, I like to run. I like drawing, I like to draw. I like sleeping, I like to sleep. Okay, that's the basic rule. Start with that. Okay. Can I pronounce the word trip? Trip. Carlos, you're from, is that, I think that's El Salvador? And if you're from, I know it's Central America somewhere. So Carlos, your R is a Spanish R, right? So you roll that R. It's a quick R. You need to learn how to make the American R, which is a long R sound, like the word car. All right? So try saying the word trip and make the R long. Okay? But don't roll it like in Spanish. Like in Spanish, when you make a long R, it's a rolled R, right? We do that, but without rolling. It's just trip. Okay, or car, okay? Hello, Han. What's the difference between tissue and napkin? Napkins are used for food. Napkins are for food. Napkins are for food eating, right? So when you need to wipe your mouth, we use a napkin, all right? The word tissue is what we use for blowing our nose or for when you're crying, okay? So look, this is a napkin. This is a napkin. This is for wiping your mouth, okay? But these are tissues. These are tissues. These are for if you're crying or if you're blowing your nose, okay? So tissues are usually for crying or your nose, and napkins are usually for when you're wiping your mouth from eating, okay? How long does it take for someone who has plenty of vocabulary and good grammar to feel comfortable while speaking? Aboud, no one can answer those questions. Anyone who asks, how long does it take to learn something? I'm sorry, but everyone, please, just understand one basic, very simple thing. If you ask how long it takes to learn something, you're asking the wrong question, because learning is not about how long it takes. I know. You are impatient. You just want it now. You want it now. But if you say, how long does it take? Okay, fine. Aboud, it takes 8 years, 2 months, 3 days, 24 hours, and 6 minutes. Which is 4 days and 6 minutes. All right? Okay, and then for this next person here, for Carlos, it's going to be different. It'll be For Carlos, he's only going to need 2 years and 16 days and 41 minutes. No one can tell you how long. Okay? No one can tell you that. Everybody who's online saying, learn English in 3 months, learn Japanese in 2 years, they're all lying. They cannot tell you how long. No one can, because everybody learns differently. There are 8 billion people, and there are 8 billion different ways to learn. All right? Okay, next question. Hello, Dana. Hello, Miguel. Why is this sentence correct? Do you feel pressure when you're working? I thought pressure is a noun. Can it be... pressure is a noun, and it's a noun in that case. You feel pressure. Pressure is a thing that's pushing down on you. It's the force that's pushing down on you. Okay, so pressure can be a real force, right? That's real, or it can be a force that you feel, like feelings, right? Someone is pressuring you to do something, okay? So pressure can be a scientific term. That's the force between objects, pressure, okay? But pressure can also be a figurative feeling. That's feelings. It's a feeling of pressure, okay? How to pronounce bureaucracy, bureaucracy, bureaucracy. So there are some other words that's, let me think, so you can say, do you feel love? Do you feel anger? Do you feel fear? Do you feel joy? Do you feel sadness? Those are nouns. Grief is a noun. Sadness is a noun. Okay? If you say sad, that's an adjective. That's different. But sadness is a noun. Anger is a noun. Love is a noun. Love can be a verb, but it's also a noun. Okay? Thank you for the gifts, everyone. You told us to use our mouths and tried it, but it looks weird. Yeah, but you know what, Brian? I don't care if it looks weird. I only care if it works. Because I don't care about looking weird. Because I'm comfortable with myself. Okay? So much of your energy, you guys spend so much energy worrying about what other people think. So you're saying, my technique works, your mouth is moving better, but it looks weird. So that means you're worried about what people will think about you. Then you're wasting your energy on that. I don't waste my energy on worrying about what people think about me. I put that energy into something practical. Okay? Okay, let's see. Please be patient.我不会说中文. What does Habibi mean? I think it means like my love or dear or darling or something like that. I think I remember that. Hello, Army. You're welcome, Dana. What do I think about Schaum's Outline of English Grammar? That's good. I use Schaum's Outline of English Grammar. That's a good one. What about the word kingpin? I think you mean kingpin? Boris, do you mean kingpin? Kinping is not a word. Can the pressure be a good sign during conversations? Yeah. Yeah, Mohammed. Sometimes if you're a little stressed out, that's pressure. When you feel stress, sometimes stress is good. Sometimes stress makes us do better. It makes you try harder because you're nervous, because you're worried, right? Sometimes pressure and stress can be a thing that makes you act. That can be good, okay? Okay, Abood says, I got it, but for someone like me who's very good at reading and listening but bad at speaking, yes, Abood, you're bad at speaking because you're bad at thinking in English. You never practice thinking in English, so that means you never spend time with English. The only time you spend time with English is when you read or listen. But if you start thinking in English every day, just do all your normal things, but think about them in English, then you're practicing English for a lot more, many more hours, right? And that means that the language is comfortable and it's free and it's ready, it's ready in your mind, so that when someone speaks to you, you're ready. That's almost every time. That is why someone cannot speak as well as they can read or listen or write. It's because they can't think well. Their thinking is very poor. So it slows down the process too much and it makes you too nervous. Okay? Is the word trip, falling of the trip, travel the same? Yes, they are the same. It's kind of a funny story, Brian, the way that word works. To trip, actually, originally, the first meaning of the word came from dancing. Let me remind myself of the meaning. The word trip originally comes from a word trippen, which meant, or tripper, which meant to jump or dance, to dance. Right? So it was a dancing word, right? And it meant to move or skip or jump quickly from one place to another. So, first the meaning of trip was a dance move where you move from one place to another quickly. Then the word trip became a word that meant to accidentally fall. You tripped and fell. Why? Because when you trip and fall, you move quickly from one place to another. And then the word trip took on the meaning of traveling, because when you travel, you're going quickly from one place to another. So the word trip has the original meaning of falling from one place to another. Okay? Okay, please be patient. I'm trying to read all the comments and make sure I don't miss anything. My voice sounds like the voice in your hearing aids. Yeah, I have a good microphone, everybody. If you have a good microphone, then your voice will sound really good. Okay. Any suggestions for the IELTS? One, you need at least 6 months to 1 year to study for the IELTS or the TOEFL. Two, you need good materials. So you can get books from a company like Barron's or Kaplan or Cambridge, or you can find online courses. The online courses are usually better because it's updated. It's current. Books get old, right? So if you buy a book, it might be old and maybe it's not quite as good as the new one, right? And then the other tip for the IELTS or TOEFL is figure out what your weaknesses are and focus on those, right? So if you're good at speaking, you don't need practice at speaking. You need practice at what you're not good at. This is a big mistake that many students make. They practice the things that they're good at because that makes them feel good. It's like, oh, look, I'm so good, I can do it. Learning requires you to feel uncomfortable. Let me say that again. Learning requires you to feel uncomfortable. You must be willing to feel uncomfortable to get good. All right? Yeah, like the listening test. I know what you meant. I know what you meant. I've heard it before. How to build fluency. Read the article that I wrote about how to build fluency. That's how you can build fluency. So here is the article that you should read about fluency. Should beginners read fiction or nonfiction? Beginners should not read books at all yet. Not yet, Mona Lisa. Instead of books, if you're a beginner, I want you to go to eslfast.com. eslfast.com is a free website, and they have, I think, about 3,000 or 4,000 short stories, and they start with very, very short, very, very easy stories, and they go up in level to, I would say, upper intermediate level, okay? Maybe even advanced level. Okay, next question. Is it impossible to learn to think in English? No, it's not impossible. Of course, it's not impossible. Lots of people do it, but you must train your brain. That's why I'm telling you that this is the big mistake that language learning has done for many, many years, decades. For many decades in language learning, nobody ever talked about thinking. Nobody ever told you what to think, how to think, that you need to think. They told you about reading and writing and listening and speaking, and they told you about vocabulary and grammar and pronunciation, but nobody ever mentioned thinking. And that's a huge problem, because all of it is based on good thinking. If you can't think it well, how can you do any of the other things well? Okay, so you can learn how to think in English. You can learn how to think in any language, but you must teach yourself. You must train yourself. Hello, Kelly. My voice sounds like Ed Sheeran, does it? Okay. I can't sing like him, but okay. He put forth a compelling case on how to overcome impediment. It's almost correct. I would say he put forth a compelling case on how to overcome his impediment or the impediment or an impediment, but you need some word before impediment. Okay? Your brain's monologue used to be in English, but suddenly it changed. Well, change back. Change back, Brian. Is the term catch-22 appropriate in professional and casual settings? Yes, I think I would say yes. Catch-22 has no... how do I say this? It's neither casual nor formal. Okay? Catch-22 is a good phrase that can be used in formal areas or in casual situations. Okay, in this case, I would say that's okay. Not every idiom is okay in a professional setting, but many are, because they are. Idioms are useful. Idioms communicate information more quickly sometimes. Okay? So as long as the idiom is not an inappropriate idiom, it's probably okay for a professional setting. There are some idioms that are inappropriate for a professional setting. Okay? Can I sing Shape of You? No, but I can play drums to it. I'm a drummer, not a singer. And Brian is right. Brian learned the hard way that I am a real teacher and you must act like you are in a real class when you are here. What does tight as thieves? It used to be thick as thieves, Brian. The term was thick as thieves, and it meant that when you're a criminal, criminals often work together, right? And they don't snitch, right? Snitching means to tell about somebody else, right? He did that. He did it. Who did it? Oh, he did it. You snitched. You told who did it. Thieves will never tell on other thieves. So they are tight as thieves or thick as thieves. It means they're loyal to each other. Thieves are loyal to other thieves. Okay? Can I get an example of an inappropriate idiom for a formal situation? Sure. Let me come up with some. So let's see. So I'm looking at a bunch of idioms, and so far, all of the idioms that I'm looking at would be fine to use in a formal or professional situation. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I'm looking at all these, and really almost all these would be fine to use in a formal situation. Now, I wouldn't use them in a speech, like a formal speech, but I might use them in a board, like a meeting, right? If you're having a meeting and you're talking to someone, for example, play it by ear. Play it by ear is an idiom that means to improvise or to just do it without a plan. Okay, that's fine. We can play it by ear. You can say that in the meeting. Okay, hang in there. Hang in there means don't quit. You know, I know it's hard, but keep trying. Hang in there, right? He's on the ball. He's on the ball. That means he is doing a good job. He's doing a good job. He's alert. Okay, hang, H-A-N-G, hang in there. Hang in there is kind of like, it's almost like jayo. It's kind of like that, right? It means don't give up, don't quit. It means don't quit, things are hard, but don't quit. Hang in there. So the only one I see that wouldn't work is hit the sack. You know, hit the sack is an idiom that means to go to sleep. So yeah, that wouldn't work in a formal environment, would it? Probably not. Hit the sack? When are you going to say that in a professional environment? I need to hit the sack? Probably not. But almost all the rest of these that I'm looking at, most idioms are fine in a professional situation if they're used to communicate information in a formal way. So informal language can be used in a formal way. It's kind of funny, but it's true. Okay, Dana's only got 15 minutes. Dana, you should buy a VIP. You want to know how to use prepositions. Okay, so Josephina, prepositions are difficult. They are hard, okay? Let me show you a couple of things. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm going to give you this link. This is a link to a page from a website called Woodward English that I like. Hold on a minute. Prepositions, where is it? There we go. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, look here. Go to this Woodward English prepositions page, which looks like this. Okay? And they explain a lot of prepositions here, right? So first they tell you what the parts of speech are. Then down here, prepositions of time, right? In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night, right? And then they explain here to, and to. And they explain here time prepositions of to, right? So this is a good page to get started with prepositions, but I also like to use this, GamesToLearnEnglish.com. This is a website that's great that you can practice English just by playing games, and it's all free. It's completely free. So if you scroll down here, where's the prepositions game? Oh, where is it? Did I miss it? Prepositions. There it is. Right there. So look, you can review prepositions. Okay. The candle is next to the TV. Look at that. There it is, next to the TV. And look, if you click T, then that's gone. And now you have to practice it without knowing, right? Okay. Or the next one, the lamp is on the right of the TV. The plant is on the left of the TV. The TV is between the speakers. The clock is above the TV, right? So you can review and then you can play the game, right? So let's start. Living room.
Put the candle on the table.
Oh, look at this. Let's drag this right here. Boom.
Put the lamp
Put the lamp between the sofa and the chair. Put the lamp between the sofa and the chair.
Put the tissues in front of the sofa. Put the books
Okay,
above
see how
the
easy
sofa.
that is, right? So this is a great one to do. And again, that's called GamesToLearnEnglish.com. If you do that for a month, you'll figure it out. Okay. It's not an app. It's a website. It's completely free. It's called GamesToLearnEnglish.com, and they have tons of games, tons of fun little games to learn English. You can play it on your phone. You can play it on your computer. Okay, it's really, really great. Okay. Okay. Next question. What's the difference between all day, entire day, and throughout the day? All day and the entire day are the same thing. Throughout the day describes it in a different way. So I would say I'm going to be at work all day. I'm going to be at work all day. Okay, but maybe I would say I'm going to be away from home the entire day. Okay? I could say all day, but the entire day means completely. Entire means completely. Okay? And so entire and all day are often interchangeable, but throughout the day, that's going to be more like I'll say, he called me 5 times throughout the day. Once in the morning, twice in the afternoon, and 3 times in the evening. Okay? So, or 2 times in the evening, right? Whatever. So the point is throughout is describing the time that happened, like there were many things that happened during that time, right? So it's describing the entire time, but it's describing the entire time about how you did many things throughout. So throughout is about spread over, right? Spread over the time, spread over the complete time. Okay? But all day is just all day, the entire day. Okay? All right. Is accent important? Accent is important. If people can't understand you, then yeah, that's a problem. Okay? Do you need to lose your accent? No, you do not need to lose your accent. You do need to make your accent clear and understandable. So you can speak American English with any accent from anywhere. Japanese, French, Chinese, German, Portuguese. It doesn't matter what accent you have. It only matters if you can make that accent clear enough that people can understand you. Okay? Your mouth can't say the T and TH sound. Brian, it can. You just need to do it more. It can. Brian, one of the biggest things that's a problem for young people say the word I can't. They say the words I can't too easily. You guys, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Brian, you want to be one of those big, strong guys, right? Big, strong guys become big, strong guys because they train. They train by putting themselves through difficult things. They push themselves. Okay? So if you go to the gym and you lift this every day, you can go to the gym every day and it's not going to do anything. Good luck. You went to the gym, you're lifting this. Good work. You have to push yourself. You have to lift something that's heavy. So, if T and TH are difficult for you, okay, they are difficult for you. They are difficult for you. But don't say the words, I can't. Don't say those words. You can. You just didn't yet. Don't say those words so easily and so quickly. Brian, I can't. Keep trying. Okay. I'm drinking coffee. What keywords do I search to read articles that I've written? You don't search for any keywords. Just go to my blog and you can read them. How can I find if my learning journey is on the correct path or not? Mona Lisa, you came to my live stream, so you're on the correct path now. Actually, I'm kind of serious when I say that, okay? You've only been here a few times, right, Mona Lisa? I just noticed you recently, right? You've been here like a few days, right, Mona Lisa? You've been watching me for what, a week? Something like that? Not a week. How long? Less than a week. Less than a week, right? So what I'm saying, Mona Lisa, is if you watch me for a while, watch me for a few weeks, you will hear all the tips that you need to hear about learning. You'll hear about all the tips that will help you to see, are you doing it the right way or not? All right? I can't answer everything in one day. I can't answer all of your questions at the same time. But if you come here, you'll hear a lot of tips about how to learn better. All right? That's what I do. Okay, and please suggest some mature ways. Victor, I don't know what that means, Victor. Some mature ways to do what, Victor? You mean you didn't like that website because it's too immature for you? Victor, then Victor, it doesn't matter if something is for children or something is for adults. It only matters if it works. if it's effective or not. So many adults learn English from children's cartoons and children's books. It's not mature, but it works. Okay? I would like to know the speaking order in English. For example, when converting between Chinese and English, I don't know. Oh, so Zoe, yeah, there is a difference between Chinese sentence structure and English sentence structure. English sentence structures are a lot more complicated, and there are many things that are a little bit more strict. That's one reason I love Chinese, because the grammar is pretty simple and loose, and not many people really care about things like, if I say a word in the wrong place, most people don't care. They still understand me. They don't correct me. It was good enough. Chabadol, right? But in English, it can get a little more complicated. But this is one of the big differences between English and Chinese. Sentence structure is far more complicated in English than in Chinese, at least in the beginning. Okay, in the beginning. So, I think what I would say, Zoe, is why don't you try just practicing translating some simple sentences? So go to DeepSeek and ask DeepSeek to give you 20 Chinese sentences. 20 sentences in Chinese, and then I want you to try to rewrite them in English and see what's the difference in the sentence structure, and ask DeepSeek to help you, right? Is this right? No, that's not quite right, but you're close. All right? Hello, Carlos. And again, Zoe, there is no one sequence of word order when natives speak in a conversation. There is no one sequence. It depends on who is speaking, and it depends on how you're speaking and what you're speaking about. Okay? Does this software have software? I don't know what that means, but gametolearnenglish.com, I think, is what you're talking about. That's what you want. Go to gametolearnenglish.com. That's a free website, and it is easy. Use it to learn English rather than games. So, Victor, I would say you need to learn with the games. If you want to do other ways, you can, but you should use that website. That website is not too immature. It's very effective, so go do it, Victor. Get over yourself. That's my first suggestion. Then, my second suggestion is, for prepositions, if you want to learn prepositions, you can use ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, please give me one worksheet to practice prepositions. Please give me 20 exercises to practice prepositions. Or you can say which prepositions. Maybe you don't need all the prepositions, but you just need a few. So you can practice those, okay? And then there are many websites to help you with prepositions as well. Okay, so those would be the mature ways to do it. The mature ways are generally boring. If you watch cartoons, which language should you use? English. You should use whatever you want to use, Mona Lisa. If you are trying to learn English, then pick English and choose whichever one you want, American or British. I don't think you should do both because that's too much. Just choose one. I don't care which one. If you want to do the British accent, great. Go do that. Okay, but don't confuse yourself with both, at least in the beginning. Okay? War or wearing. Wearing is present tense and war is past tense. So yesterday I wore a black shirt. Okay? Today I'm wearing a red shirt. Oh man, you guys are making it hard today. If someone wanted to learn my native language from English, would they also struggle? Yes, Brian, of course, man. Of course. Yeah. Many people struggle with every language, any language. Learning a language is difficult. It's a difficult thing. But guess what, Brian? Humans were born to do difficult things. Humans were not born to do simple things. We were born to do amazing things. So if you don't do amazing things, it's not because you can't do amazing things. It's because you never tried. Humans are born to do amazing things. So if you've never done an amazing thing, it's because you didn't try. Okay, why do you understand me but not others? This is my job. Yusuf, okay, I am an English teacher. I have been teaching English since 2009, and I have been teaching since 1994. I love teaching, I care about teaching, and I care about my language. So when I speak clearly, I speak slowly, I pronounce everything very well, and I try to use vocabulary that most people will know. Okay? And I'm also using really good equipment. I'm using the same equipment that they use for TV. Okay, this microphone, all right? You want content writing skills. Okay, then open ChatGPT and say, please write some content for me. There is no point in learning content writing skills anymore because content writing is now going to be done by AI. What did the teacher have for dinner? Yesterday? What did I have for dinner yesterday? Wow, I don't even remember. I can't think. I think I just had something simple, just a sandwich. Yeah, that's right. I just had a sandwich yesterday. Nothing special. Sometimes I just eat. Textbook English or natural street English? Neither. Neither. You should learn proper English. Proper English means it's the language that you can use this language almost anywhere. Okay, this is proper English. This English will open almost any door. Okay? If you use street English, there are many doors that will not open for that English. Okay? If you speak and use street English in the wrong place, it will not be good for you. So the language that I am using, the style of speech, just call it proper speech. And this can be used anywhere. So that is what you should learn. Okay? War, W-O-R-E versus war, W-A-R. The pronunciation is the same. The meaning is very different. War, W-O-R-E, is the past tense of wear, to wear clothing. War, W-A-R, is the word that means a fight or battle between two peoples or nations or countries. What would be better, to learn English in your home or to go to a country? So, Brian, of course, if you can go to a country where they speak English, it's great for learning English. Of course. But most people cannot afford to move to another country to learn a language. So that is why I tell everyone you don't need to move to another country. You do not need to go to England or America or Australia. You do need to learn how to think in English, because if you can think in English, then you can think in English in Bangladesh, you can think in English in Australia, you can think in English in Japan, you can think in English in China, you can think in English in Brazil, you can think in English in Mexico, you can think in English. Period. Okay? Does it have influence? I don't know what that means. Color for people. What do you mean? When I'm learning sentences, I come across many fixed phrases. I want to ask if these need to be memorized especially. Can you give me an example of that, Zoe? What are you calling a fixed phrase? Give me some examples of that. Can learning English as well as Chinese cause problems? No, not if you do them right. But, Brian, I want you to do amazing things, but I also want you to know that humans can't fly. So, Brian, I said humans are designed, we were born to do amazing things, and we should. We should do amazing things. You should try to do things that are within your ability, and there are many things that are within your ability. Flying is something that's not in your ability. Humans can't fly. All right? So why am I saying that? Because I'm saying that if you try to learn English and Chinese and Japanese and French and German at the same time, can you learn all of those at the same time? Sure, you can, but it's not likely going to be easy. It's going to be really hard, and the chances of you failing are really good. So that's like flying. You're trying to fly when you can't fly. So I want you to do amazing things, but I don't want you to bite off more than you can chew. Do you know that phrase, Brian? That's an English idiom. To bite off more than you can chew means here's a pizza, okay? And you took the whole pizza and you tried to put the whole pizza in your mouth. That's too much, man. You can't put the whole pizza in your mouth. You're biting off more than you can chew. All right? So your mom tells you that all the time. So then you know that's a problem for you. So trying to impress people with too much. When you try to do things, you are trying to do them to impress other people. That's why you're trying to do so much. So that means you're doing these things for the wrong reasons. When you learn something, learning is not to impress others. Learning is to improve yourself. So, if you're learning to improve yourself, then you'll do what you need to improve yourself. If you're learning to impress others, then you'll bite off more than you can chew. Okay? Okay, let's see. The only thing you get if you go to an English-speaking country for now is that you're forced to speak. And yeah, but actually even that's not always true. You're from Somalia, right? If you live in Minnesota, up in Minnesota in the United States, they have a pretty big Somali community there, right? So there are many people who go to that community. This is called a diaspora. Diaspora means a community of a culture that's someplace else, right? So another country, they moved to another country and now they have their little group. That's called a diaspora. Okay? They go to the university here and they study, but when they come here, they're so worried, they're so nervous about everything is new and different. So instead of dealing with that, they don't go out, they don't do anything new, they don't try everything new. They just find the other Chinese people and they hang out with all the Chinese people and speak time. It's like, why come here? Why did you come here to study? You should have just saved your money. Hello, Vera. What is the ideology of color? I don't think there is one, in my opinion. Color is culturally different. Black in some color, and in some cultures, black is like an evil, dark color. In some cultures, black is a wonderful color. In some cultures, I think in Korean, white is the color of death, I think, right, Catherine? Isn't that true? At Korean funerals, they wear white. Isn't that correct? So color is different in different cultures, the way we see color, okay? And GY, 你好，我是英文老师 ，OK？ 如果我说太快了，没关系，我感觉你需要试试看，听我太快了，没关系啊 ，OK？ One way, or do we have to explore different types of ways? You must explore different types of ways consistently. Consistency is always important, but yes, Mona Lisa, I want you to think about learning is like a diamond. A diamond is a rock, right? And when you get a diamond is raw. When you first get a diamond, it doesn't look pretty. When you get it from the ground, what does a diamond look like? It's not pretty. Not yet. What do? They take the stone and they clean it. And then what do? What do they do to the diamond after they take it out of the ground? Anyone? Yeah, and then you cut it, right? You cut angles. Those angles are called facets. A facet is an angle of something. And this is how I look at learning. So when you want to learn something, English is the thing you're learning. That's the diamond. Now you have to figure out, how many facets can I see? How many facets can I make? So I can look at the reading and the writing and the listening and the speaking and the thinking and the grammar and the vocabulary, and I can practice with YouTube and with this app and with this app and with this live stream and this live stream and this teacher and that teacher, and every single one is a different angle. It's a different facet. Okay? So that's how I approach learning. Cut away, cut in, cut up. Right. Those are called phrasal verbs. So you're talking about phrasal verbs, Zoe. Phrasal verbs are difficult because there is no one rule, okay? This is like improvised language. People just took these words and put them together and they gave them a new meaning, right? So phrasal verbs are usually two words that come together, right? One is a verb and another word, and they make a new meaning of some kind, right? So, for example, you're talking about cut. Let's look at the other cut verbs, or cut phrasal verbs. One moment. So, here's one here. One moment, everybody. Why can't I drag that over? Did that work? One moment. Save image as phrasal verbs, desktop, save. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, so look here. Oops, wrong one. I'm sorry. Wrong one. This one. So here are the phrasal verbs with cut. Cut back, cut down, cut off. Cut off has two meanings. Cut out has two meanings. Cut through and cut up. Right? So let's look. Cut back. What does that mean? It means to reduce something. So we need to cut back heavily on office supplies, or we need to cut back on spending. Okay? Cut down. That means to bring down by cutting, like a tree. Right? They want to cut down several trees to make room for the parking lot. Okay? Cut off. That means to stop providing something or giving something to someone. His parents cut him off to encourage him to find a job. They cut him off means they're not giving him money anymore. Okay? Or cut off can mean to turn off or switch off. Cut off the lamp or cut off the electricity or cut off the light. Okay? Cut off also has another meaning in traffic. If you're driving and someone drives in front of you very quickly and they didn't signal to tell you, then they cut you off. That's cutting someone off. Okay? So the point is, there is no one rule for phrasal verbs. You do need to memorize them. So here is how you should do it. Choose a verb like cut, like you just did, and then do a search online for phrasal verbs with cut, or phrasal verbs with pull, or phrasal verbs with push, or phrasal verbs with run. And then look at the list, and I want you to read them and think about which ones feel like I would use that, right? Like some of these, maybe you'll never use that, so why learn it if you're never going to use it? Some of them will be like, oh, man, I could use that. I need to cut back on sugar. I need to cut back on soda. I need to cut back on meat. Okay? Or cut down. I need to cut down the amount of meat that I eat, right? That means to reduce also. All right? So that means you should figure out what all the phrasal verbs are that use that word. Then you should choose the ones that you feel are valuable to you. Then you should memorize those. That's what I recommend. But, Zoe, phrasal verbs are something that I don't think you need to really learn until later. Okay? I don't usually teach them until much later. You can speak pretty well without using a lot of phrasal verbs. Okay? So you have to do things for your own purpose, not for others' liking. Well, mostly, yes, Brian. Mostly, you are responsible to make yourself a good human being. That's your responsibility. You are supposed to do that because it's the good thing to do. You're supposed to do things not because of what other people say. How do you know they're right? You should think about it yourself to determine what is right for you. Okay? Hello, Gaia. How are you today? During the process of learning this language in China, it's always necessary to memorize these phrases related to a single word. Right, so Zoe, the process of learning in China is not a very good process of learning, to be honest, and almost everybody in China will agree with me, because in China, You are taught to pass the test. That is what all learning in China is designed for. Every school in China, the way they teach you is not to understand, it's to pass the test. Okay, now I'm not trying to be rude. I am merely saying that many students, they learn that thing, they pass the test, and then they forget everything because they didn't really learn it. They only learned it for that time period. They only know it to know the test. That means they don't really know it. Okay? Why is Obama one of the most eloquent and well-spoken people? Because he valued his education, because his mother was a teacher, I believe, if I remember right, and because he went to Harvard. He went to Harvard University. Okay? Steve says, in most Southeast Asian countries, white is a sinister color. See, there you go. Yeah. Okay. It's really confusing, so I have to draw an image in my head of cut down, cut off, cut off. Well, that is good, Catherine. You should try to imagine. You should imagine. And that's why it's good to read example sentences that show how to use those phrasal verbs. But, Catherine, I just am saying, I'm saying that I think you shouldn't spend too much time on them because you can speak around them often. Okay? You can often speak around them. Okay. So how should I go about learning the language then? Well, Zoe, I can't answer that all in one time. But Zoe, if you are here, most of you have seen me before, but some of you are new, right? If you are new, hello. My name is Teacher Mark, and I have been on Hello Talk for more than 12 years. I have been live streaming here for more than 5 or 6 years, and about 89,000 people follow me here on Hello Talk, okay? They follow me because I am a real teacher, and I really teach, okay? And I'm here Monday through Friday. Most of the time I'm here, okay? I have a YouTube channel. That's my YouTube channel there in the chat. I have a website. That's my website. And I have a blog, and that's my blog. Okay? So, if you are interested in learning English, you can come here and you can listen. Now, I usually do not prepare anything to teach. I don't prepare anything. I come here and people ask me questions and I answer them. So what you should do is think of questions and come here and ask me. Okay? Please give you a suggestion about a school system. Maury, I can't do that. That would be, no, I'm sorry. That's too big. I cannot tell you how to design a school to learn English. I'm sorry. It's too big. That's not about learning English. Okay? And Maury, I'll tell you. Maury, there are too many people who have schools that teach English, but they don't have good English. So, Maury, before you start a school, you must finish your English. How can you call yourself a teacher if you don't know? And, Maury, if you call yourself a teacher and I call myself a teacher, are we the same? A school is not a business. A school is a responsibility. If you open a school to make money, I will not help you, because that's not what it should be about. Okay? And I don't want any more schools that are run by people who don't know English. If you're trying to teach English, I am fine with that. Anybody should, if you want to run a school to do that, great. But it's a basic idea that if you have a business, you should know that business. You cannot start a business. If you have never cooked before, you cannot start a restaurant. If you have never cooked, you should not start a restaurant and say, I'm a chef now. Okay? So, please, take it seriously. Take it seriously. If you want a school, then that's fine. But I want you to focus on learning English first. Once you feel like you have mastered English, then you can open a school. You cannot open a school before you master English. You cannot teach someone before you learn. Okay? Is there another meaning of the word hyper? No. Hyper means more than, or to excel in something. Like, for example, hyperactivity means activity that is excelling into a higher level. It's more of something, right? Hyper speed is speed that goes beyond the speeds that we normally go. So hyper is usually a suffix that is used to show a higher level of something, usually involving speed. Hyperbole is an exaggeration of a statement. That's correct. Yes. So hyper is exaggerating things. That's right. Yeah. What accent do I have? I have what's called the Midland, Ohio accent. This is the broadcaster's accent. Okay? I'm lucky I was born in an area where this is the way that they speak, with a broadcaster's pronunciation. Okay? Claire, I am usually here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I start around 9:30 or 10:30 in the morning in the United States. Now, starting next week, my time zone is going to change. It will be exactly 12 hours different from Beijing, right? So right now, I'm 13 hours off from Beijing. It's 10:45 here in the morning. It's 11:45 in China in the evening, right? So I usually start in the morning in New York City time, around 9:30 or 10:30 in the morning, New York City time. Okay? I am hyperactive. Yeah, I am. Uh-huh. What's the difference between ultra and hyper? They are both from Latin and Greek. Hyper is Greek. Ultra is Latin. Sorry. Hyper means an excess, an overload, or an over-the-top state. Ultra means beyond a boundary, beyond the edge, or an extreme limit. Okay? So if you say hyper, you could say, let's see, hyperactive, hyperlink, hypermarket, right? We say those, they mean like more of something, right? But ultra, ultrasonic, ultraviolet, ultramodern. So, for example, ultraviolet. What does ultraviolet? UV. What is that? Do you know that? UV light. What is that? Why do we call it ultraviolet light? No, not violent. No, Waleed, listen. Not violent. Violet. Violet is a color. Violent means to be aggressive and hurtful. Okay? So, ultraviolet means those are the things that you cannot see unless you have that special light. Because it's beyond our ability to see. It's ultra. It's past our ability to see. We cannot see those unless we use a special light. Okay? So that's the difference between hyper and ultra. Okay? Ultra is somehow like there's a limit of something and you are beyond the limit. Okay? But hyper is just more of something. Okay? Exaggerated something. Okay? All right. That's right. They have higher wave frequency, so you're not able to see it. Right. Okay, so. And hello, English Journey. Let's see. Might be a little off point, but knowing a language and being able to teach it properly are not the same things. That's correct. Lots of English learners fall for the idea that they only need a native speaker. Very well said. Thank you for saying that. Yes, that's very true. Yeah, unfortunately, most people, when they come on Hello Talk, they think, oh, I'm going to talk to a native speaker. They know English, so they can teach me. No, the majority of native speakers, they learned English, and many of them can speak it well even. But teaching it or explaining it are very, very different things. Okay? I started teaching English in 2009, and before that, I was a musician, a drummer. You can see the drums behind me. And I had been teaching drums for many years, so I was a teacher. I just was a music teacher, a drum teacher, right? But I didn't know about teaching English, and I had to learn how to teach English. I had to get my certificate, take a class, take a course, and to be honest with you, the course was really not much. It does not teach you very much at all. And then I started teaching, and when I was teaching, I had to learn a lot, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way. So English Journey, whoever you are, when I started teaching English in a foreign country, it was still a little bit more of a wild game. I mean, teaching English, they would take anybody. You didn't need a certificate. You just needed to be a native speaker, and they would take you, right? And that means that, yeah, many of them were terrible, but I was a teacher. I just didn't teach English. So I had the ability, I had the skills. I just had to refresh my memory and remind myself about English. And I had to study. I had to learn it again. You know, I did. I taught myself English again so that I could teach it, so I could remember everything. Okay? All right. Is lethargic related to lethal? That's a good question. I don't think so, but let me check. It might be. Lethal comes from the Latin word lethalis, which means deadly or fatal, from lethum or letum, meaning death. So no, it looks like they are not related. I thought you could be right, because to be tired and to be dead, that could have a relationship, maybe, right? But it's good to look, right? So, Carrot, you had an idea that those two words might be related because they look similar. That's a good instinct, but then you need to go check and look and see, are they from the same place or not? And lethal is not. It comes from a word that just means deadly. The word lethargic, I remember, I just was teaching about this the other day. It comes from the Greek word lethargikos, which means drowsy or forgetful. Lethargy, let's see. Lethargia, which means forgetfulness. Lethargos. So this is actually related to the word latent. If something is latent, what does something latent mean? Latent things are kind of under the surface things, right? They're not open, they're secret. So the word latent and lethargy are actually related because it's like something that you've forgotten about. It's kind of funny. Anyway. Is reciting English articles really useful for learning this language? I feel it's just a way to temporarily remember things. Reciting them. If you mean memorizing them and then reciting them, I don't think that's... I think that works. I don't think it's extremely efficient. That is a method that has been used for hundreds of years, recitation, to just memorize something and then repeat it. It has value, but limited value. And it has efficacy, but limited efficacy. So it means it's not that effective, okay? So, reading is very useful. I think that if you read different things every day, that is extremely useful and beneficial. Reading and reciting the same thing every day is useful, but not particularly useful, not extremely useful. Okay? All right. Waleed, I know, man. I'm sorry your environment is the environment you have, okay? And that must be really hard. I mean, I can't even imagine. All right? Waleed, do you know what jazz music is? You know jazz music? Okay, so Waleed, jazz music is a beautiful music. It's an amazing music. It's a very wide range of music. There's so many kinds of jazz and different things. But this beautiful music, Waleed, this music was from black culture in the United States. And this music was created because of slavery. Slavery is a terrible, 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 terrible thing. But this beautiful thing came out of that terrible thing. So, Waleed, sometimes when you're surrounded by nothing but terrible, it's a place where something beautiful could be born. Okay? When did I start being confident at teaching? Wow, I don't know. I think probably... I think I really started to feel good about being a teacher maybe when I was in my mid-20s, late 20s. Let's say mid-late 20s. I think I was about 26, 27, something like that. And I was teaching music. I was teaching drums. And there I had a student who, he was an older man and he took drum lessons, and his son also took drum lessons. So they were learning drums together as a father and son, and I was teaching both of them. And he was a sociology professor at the local university, one of the better schools in my city. And he wrote a letter of recommendation for me. And he said that, like, if I could design the perfect teacher, it would be Mark. And it was like, wow, like, whoa, that's crazy that he said that. And it gave me a lot of confidence, you know, because he's a professor. He's been doing this a long time. He's a master of teaching, and he's calling me really good, you know. So that gave me a sense of confidence in myself about what I'm doing and about teaching. And I've been lucky because over the years I've had students who have learned from me, and they have stayed in contact with me, and they still keep in touch with me. And that only happens if you feel that you really learned from someone. That only happens if you feel like, you know, you're good. Like, they only talk to you if they really feel that what you gave them was valuable. That gives you confidence. Okay? The meaning of stagnation. To stagnate means that nothing is growing, nothing is moving, everything is staying the same and becoming worse because it's staying the same. Okay? So stagnant water. Maury, if you see a river, but the river dries up and now the water is not moving. The water's not moving at all. And the water just stays there for many, many, many days. So what happens to water? If that water stays there for many, many, many days, the water will become very hot and it becomes very bad water. That's stagnant water. Okay? It's not moving, it's not growing. Okay? Have I taught in a school before? Yes. Where do you get your curriculum to teach different classes? Do you make your own curriculum for the whole year? So that depends on where you're teaching. Every school is different. Some schools, they want you to make the curriculum. Some schools, they give you the curriculum. Then they'll tell you everything you need to teach. So it really depends on what school that you go to. Every school is going to require different things. There are some schools that have no plans. They have nothing, and they just want a teacher. And so if you come, you can do anything you want. But there are some schools that have a very rigid and set, strict way of doing things. And so you have to follow their way. Okay? A spoiler. Oh, what time is it? 11. Okay, I got to go soon. A spoiler and a teaser. So a teaser is something they show in a to make you want to see the movie. So the movie is coming out soon. So they'll play you a teaser. It's just like 1 minute of the movie to show you, oh, wow, that looks great. I want to go see that. They are teasing you with how great it looks. They're teasing you, like, look how awesome this movie is. Don't you want to see it? Come see it. That's a teaser. A spoiler is when somebody wants to see the movie, but they haven't seen the movie. But now you said, oh, wasn't that great at the end of the movie when the guy died? And you just told them the end of the movie? That is a spoiler because you spoiled it. To spoil means to make something bad or something has become bad, like rotten food is spoiled food, right? So when something is spoiled, it means it can't be eaten anymore. The food can't be eaten. If you spoil the movie, it's like you told me the end. Now I don't want to go see the movie. Okay? Can I play a jazz song? I can, but maybe not right now. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Do-wah, 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 do-wah. Let's see. Is it from Route 66? That's another jazz song. Yeah, that's a good jazz song. Okay. Okay, guys, please be patient, and let me see if I'm missing anything. Raymond, you're talking about the pronunciation of TH. I did see your message, Raymond, but I didn't have time to reply. Raymond, TH is difficult for many people. You need to exaggerate when you practice. You need to practice a lot, and you need to practice certain words. There are 2 ways to do TH sounds, so you have to practice 2 different ways. All right, so I want you to practice the word thank you. 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 I want you to make it longer. If any sound is hard for you, then you must pull that sound and make it longer so that you can practice it more. If the sound is only 1 second long and you practice it 30 times, then you only practiced for 30 seconds. But if you make the sound longer and you practice it for 30 times, now you've practiced it for 5 minutes. Okay? So stretch the sound that's difficult for you. All right? And then after you practice the word thank you, then I want you to practice this, that, these, those. This, that, these, those. Okay? Practice those 2 things. How does someone overcome demophobia and speak like a pro in front of crowds? You have to speak like a pro in front of crowds. What does that mean? To be a pro means you have done it a lot. If you're not a pro, then you're not a pro. So how can you speak like a pro? Become a pro. How do you become a pro? Do it. If you do it long enough, then someone will say you're professional. Okay? So every musician that gets on stage, they're afraid, but they get on stage anyway. And they do it again and again and again. And eventually they become comfortable. But you cannot become comfortable without being uncomfortable first. To become comfortable doing something, you must be willing to be uncomfortable. Okay? So, to be great at speaking in front of people, you have to be willing to get in front of people. And maybe you're not great many times. Okay? Prison music and prison songs? That's interesting. Wow, I'm going to have to read about that, Valerie. Complacent means, to become complacent means that you are not trying as hard as you used to, that you have become kind of lazy, and that you don't do what you should anymore. Okay, complacency means kind of like laziness of attitude. Okay? And Zoe said how to memorize words. Don't memorize words, Zoe. I want you to go read my article about a better way to learn vocabulary. Okay? Read this article. Okay, and I really do need to go here in just a second, guys, because I'm going to have lunch with another teacher, friend of mine. I haven't seen this teacher in a few years, and so we're going to go have some lunch. Do I like China? It's such a weird question. 中国这是一个国家在地球。如果这是地球的，我喜欢，因为我住在地球。Okay? How can a person in B2 get to C1? Is it possible by watching movies? Probably not. No. C1 is not that's not movie language. C1 is advanced language mostly. C1 is language that's for academic use or business use, right? So to learn C1, you need to do C1 materials, C1 books, C1 reading, C1 listening, C1 vocabulary. Okay? Guys, learning is like getting the fruit from the tree. Some fruit is close and it's easy to get. This fruit is so easy. That's the A1 fruit. A2 fruit, that's pretty easy also. That's easy. I can get the A2 fruit. B1's not too bad. B1's okay. B2's up here. But C1, you gotta reach. C2, you really gotta reach. All right? Reach. If you want to get there, then reach. All right? Okay. Andrew, long time no see, man. How are you? Good for you. It's nice to see you back again. Okay. What about BBC News? BBC News is okay. It's a source that you can use. Okay? All right. Once again, if you are new, hello, my name is Teacher Mark. I have been on Hello Talk for more than 12 years. I have 89,000 followers. I have done more than 1,300 live streams, and more than 1 million people have watched me teach. So, I have a YouTube channel, I have a website, and I have a blog, and they are there, right there. That's my YouTube, that's my website, that's my blog. Follow me. Come ask me questions. And listen. Come listen. Whatever questions you have, somebody else has the same questions and they're asking me. Okay? So if you just come listen and make some notes, you can learn a lot. All right? Okay. So I must go. But thank you to all my people over here, especially over my YouTube. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you, Catherine. I'll be back. Well, I'm going to lunch, so when I come back, it's probably going to be a little bit late. But I might come back and play some music later after lunch, maybe. Okay? Okay, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening, wherever you live in the world, and make sure you come back and see me again next time, okay?